and welcome to my budgeting and cash stuffing video. So I have been doing cash stuffings throughout the last year on my channel, and although I enjoy doing it, I kind of am a bit bored of filming like the overhead style, so I thought I would try it and do it this way and see if it's something that people enjoy. And I thought I would also in these videos start showing you a little bit more of like actually how do I budget or how do I decide what goes where, and also show you a little bit of how I track my finances and work with my bullet journal, because I often get a lot of requests about how does this system work. So that's what I thought we could do. And this is for the month of January, so it's a little bit of like a financial reset in some way. And I have gone through and made a sort of a spread to show me how much I'm sort of working with starting from now. So I think that's a really good thing to do, especially at the beginning of the year and sometimes halfway through the year, is to look through all your accounts, look through all your debts, and just put it all on one page really clearly. Exactly how much do you have in cash, how much do you have in your accounts and the different accounts and all that kind of stuff, so that each time you always have a reference point to go back with. And I have that for, you know, since 2017 I believe I've been doing this, so every time I can go back and look at where was I, sort of roughly how much did I spend, and just get a sense of that based off, yeah, my different overlay spreads. So this is the first thing I've done. So I always kind of do my finances in like a sort of rough notebook first, and then I usually try and copy the things that I really feel like is important into my bullet journal. So this spread I have put in my bullet journal, but I don't put like my just like normal like budget workout thing in my bullet journal. So this is what we have. I just did the January to 2022. I did the bank. I have 4 accounts. In all 4 accounts I have $3,623. I'm also waiting for my vacation check to clear, which is $866. So it means in my accounts total I have $4,489. In cash I have $1,328. So my total is $5,817. Now I minus the $1,362, which is what I was able to save during 2021. From that amount I have $4,455 left over. And that is kind of like my emergency fund. That's sort of what I moved to these States with, just to have a bit of cash as backup. And then I do have some savings still back home in Australia, but that is what that 4,455 is. So I don't really want to touch that at all. So that's why I kind of do these like cash budgeting things. I'm also doing a no buy low buy, is because I am doing a volunteer program. I get a stipend check. I probably make about $4,000 for the whole year. So it's not a lot, which means I have to be very conscious and aware of my finances. I've also gone through here and written exactly how much is in all of my sinking funds at the moment. And then that just gives me an overview of where my finances are at, and I have copied that into my bullet journal. So let's see where I put it here. And it's not like a fancy thing by any stretch of the imagination, but that's just what it looks like copied over into my bullet journal. And then I've made space where I'm going to do the sort of tracking of how much I make each month. And basically the next thing I do is I then set up my budget for January. So the way I work out my budget for January, this is just the page that I have created, is that I do go back and look at how much did I make the month before. So in December, and one of the ways I track exactly how much I make each month, so I usually just get my stipend check. However, sometimes I make a little bit extra, and that's what I keep track of here. So I have December, I have my stipend check, then I added up some bank interest. I also have a little bit of money from doing a photo shoot. I also have the vacation stuff in here, but I'm still waiting for that check to come through, so I'm not counting that. And also my vacation money I always just try and save anyway. And that's what I've done, if you can see, throughout the whole year, is that each month I just write down how much came in every time. And this is just some other stuff about when I first moved here, how much cash I had. I don't know, it's just random numbers. Often my bullet journal is just full of like pages full of numbers, which makes sense to me but maybe don't translate to other people. And then on this page I also have a system whereby I write how much I stuffed and how much I put in my bank account each month as well. So that's what we're going there, and that's for the beginning of 2022 and January. So that is where I'm up to. So that is just like one of the many spreads I have in my bullet journal where I keep track of things. So we've got January. I do it in this piece of paper because I feel like I don't need to. All I need to know in my bullet journal is how much I actually stuffed in cash and how much I saved. I don't really worry about you know, writing exactly how much I put in each category, because also the other way that I track my spendings is through just like writing everything down each month. So let me see if I can find an example of that. So this is an example of what I do every single month. Is anytime I purchase something, I put it in this list. I color coordinate it based off what category it falls under, that purchase, and then that's what I'll add up at the end of the month when I do my no buy tallies and things like that. So that's another spread I have there. So that's why I don't feel like I need to like have this sort of like rough budget workout thing in my bullet journal, because I feel like everything's pretty solidly tracked. And often when I'm like working out my budget, it's messy. I like scribble stuff out and then I'm adjusting money because I don't want to put too much in my too much in my sinking funds, and I want to try and save as much as possible. So with that all said, for January I have made a total, or like for January the amount that I can budget out is $360.16. So I've budgeted it out this way, which was what we'll stuff in a minute. So it equals $95 that I'm going to stuff, and then I'm saving $265.16. So let's start with doing the stuffing. So we have my bank, my little makeshift bank, and my sinking funds. So these are the sinking funds that I'm currently working with, and then I have this one envelope called the bank. Now what I do is when I do buy something on my card, I will then take out the money from the sinking fund that it correlated to, because basically everything in my life comes through my sinking funds, is budgeted in some way, any expense I might have. So I then take it all out of the sinking fund and I'll put it in the bank. And I sometimes deposit this, but most of the time I don't, because I feel like it's just annoying going back and forward towards the bank. So I just have this money here, which then I reach for when I'm going to do a cash stuffing. So let me pull this out and pull out the $95 that we're going to stuff. And I kind of know the denomination of the bills that I'll need for the breakdown, just because I've kind of been doing this for a while. So I like look at it, I go, okay, there's 3 20s in there, there's a few 10s, just to work it out. So we've got 60, 70, 80, 90, and then 5 in ones. And I'm not stuffing all of my sinking funds this month, because last month I didn't spend, I spent hardly anything from my eating out category, so that still has 95. Experiences is fully funded, self-care is fully funded, and health is fully funded as well. So we're only stuffing 5 out of the 9 sinking funds. So let's start with freedom first. This is actually a new sinking fund that I have decided to create, because I was kind of doing my vacation fund as my experiences. However, I was also using my experiences not just for vacation things, and so I wanted to actually save a separate sinking fund for vacation, and then have experiences be something separate that I can just do on my days off and things like that. So we have freedom. I'm going to be putting in 50. As per usual, I've gone and pre-filled the cards, just because I find that easier than trying to do all that on camera. And this sinking fund's been used for other things before. This slip, this is where we're starting down the bottom, because I don't like to waste the slips. So this one is starting off with 50 in it, which is the highest amount I'm going to be stuffing this month. Then we've got clothing for 12, so 2, and then a 10, that's 12. So that brings my clothing sinking fund up to 120. Put the 10 in. $120. So that's the card you can see there. So each time I make a transaction, I will take it out, and I use like the plus and minuses so that I can, yeah, just keep a track of what is being taken out. And then we've got the constant balance down here as well. I then have toiletries for $5 that I'm going to put in there, so that brings it up to 65. 65. We have gifts. I'm going to be adding 5 to this as well. So gifts actually has got a new slip. So pretty much I have filled up my whole slip here. It's now filled to the very bottom, and so then I've added in a new one for me to keep track. And I think for now I'm just going to keep the old one in there until I've kind of gotten a few months in or a few transactions in, and then I will get rid of this or just like put it somewhere else to keep it separate. So that is gifts, and that now has a total of 70 in it. Miscellaneous is getting 23, which is exactly what I have left over here, and that I believe only has 2 left in it. So yeah, 2. And the same thing just happened as well with the miscellaneous slip. I've filled it up and then I started afresh on this one as well to keep a track of everything that's in there. And so basically with every transaction I will take it out off on the slip so that I always have a very clear running total here of how much is in my sinking fund. The only exception is when it comes to eating out. So with my eating out slip, I actually just add up all my expenses for the month, and then at the end of the month then I'll write like November spending, and then I'll have the amount there, because otherwise I would just eat through these slips really quickly because I eat out a lot more than I make other purchases because I'm trying to do the no buy. So that's just the way that I sort of keep track of it. And we've also moved on to a new slip here as well. And with my eating out, I don't feel like I need to write here like each individual transaction, because like I showed you here, we have it all clearly stated on this page where we have everything, and we also have it color coordinated, so that's for November and December. And then so this is what it currently looks like while I'm a volunteer. There's not many purchases that are happening because I'm also doing a no buy low buy, but I'm also not having to pay for like groceries and those kind of expenses. When I was living back home in Australia, let me see if I can find it, this is like what that page would look like. You can see how many more transactions happen in 1 month because I'm getting groceries, I'm getting gas, I'm getting lots of other normal expenses, and I was making a much higher income, so I felt more comfortable to spend money when I wanted to go out and eat more and things like that than what I do now. So that is sort of what those trackers look like. And now I have stuffed all my money for my sinking funds. And then there's like one other last element that I like to do. So I'll show you that. Basically, for this system to be practical for me, I have my bank. I find this is quite a useful thing to work with, but I also like to have a float. So I have a bit of money here which is not calculated in like my savings in my bank. It's not in my cash envelopes. It's just like this $110. Sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, depending on change, just rounding up, that I keep separated. And why I do that is because I don't really want to keep my sinking funds on me at all times. Like I don't want to take all of this out with me. That's like nearly probably just over $1,000 in cash. Actually, yeah, it is more than $1,000 in cash. So what I do is I have this little float amount, and so then I will each month make sure, and like not even each month, but each time I kind of make a transaction, what I'll do is when I'm out, I usually keep about $60 worth of float in my wallet. And then what will happen is I will buy like a meal out, for example, and then I'll come and I'll take my eating out sinking fund, and then I'll take out what I spent eating out, and I will make sure that my float kind of goes back to 60. And that's sort of the way I always try and balance it out for myself. Now this works because I am just working with a smaller amount of money. I know that if you had higher amounts it would be different. Like when I was doing my grocery shop and all those kind of things, then I would keep like a certain amount for my groceries. I'd keep $50 for groceries in my wallet, and I'd keep a little bit for some other expenses as well. But just because I've got a small income, I'm not planning to buy a lot of things. I only feel like I need the small float of 60, and then I just have it in this little tiny sinking fund, not sinking fund, tiny little cash envelope, because that one then fits in my wallet. So those are all of my finances for the month of January, and kind of getting myself a little bit set up. So that is my stuffing for January done, and then I have all my sinking funds set up, and my system that I've kind of created for myself is pretty simple, and I don't feel like I need to change anything up. That the only difference is I'm going to have a specific vacation sinking fund, and this month was a little bit different because often I would be stuffing a bit more, especially when it comes to eating out, but I do try and always save like half of my income because that's kind of my main goal, and that's one of my financial goals for 2022. I will make a total of $4,176 this year, and my goal is to try and save half of it. It is quite a challenging goal just because I don't make much in the first place, and especially if I want to have a vacation with that money. But I also this year won't need to buy a laptop because last year I spent most of my finances on getting a new laptop. So yeah, that is sort of how I thought I would share what I usually do, how I sit down and budget. Now, if you like this style more than the just like overhead staring at my hands while I do the cash stuffing, let me know in the comments. I'm also planning to share more of my budgeting methods and how I do my trackers and set that up at the end of each month, how I calculate all of my spendings and like color coordinate and all that, but that will be next month because this month I sort of didn't get a chance to do that because I kind of did that off camera, and then I thought about actually maybe that would be useful to show, but I just didn't do it this month. I thought I'd just test out this video, see what you think. So let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!